Have you heard of Wilder Penfield?
No.
So he did a lot of work in the middle of the 20th century. He was interested in epilepsy. He invented something called the Montreal procedure, which is basically to cut out parts of the brain that were the focus of epileptic seizures.
Oh, wow.
And cure them like that. The problem is you need to find out which parts of the brain are actually becoming hyperactive during epileptic seizures. Mm-hmm. And so what he did is he cut open the brains of his patients, like sometimes the whole top of the skull. And then he would take an electrode and he would zapping different parts of
Trying to cause a seizure?
I mean, that's part of it, yeah. He wanted to find out which part of the brain are we going to see kind of highly excitable, erratic activity, and that would tell him that this was perhaps the locus of epileptiform activity. This part he could cut out. But at the same time, he was also interested in mapping. So he obviously didn't want to cut out parts of the brain that were very important. So he would systematically work through, and the patients were awake, by the way. Mm-hmm. So they could speak to him. They could describe what they were seeing.
Yeah.
And what he found is when he started stimulating right at the back of the brain, the primary visual cortex. So this is the part of the cortex that receives information from the retina. So it's the closest part of the brain to the environment, you could say. So when Penfield stimulated the primary visual cortex, his patients would say, oh, I see a triangle, or I see lines, or I see flashes of color. Very basic, simple, fine details. They weren't seeing objects. But then he started stimulating further and further forward, so up this cortical hierarchy. Then they would say, oh, I see orange circles, or I see green triangles. He's starting to see shapes being formed. Then he would move even further and further forward to the higher levels of the cortex, and they would say, oh, I see, this 12-year-old boy said, oh, I see rubbers with guns. So now you're seeing these higher level models, which is kind of the stored object models that your brain has kind of developed and learned over time.